If someone from 2000 were to time travel to present-day 2024, what would shock them the most? That quality of living for most people has gone down. That there aren't any flying cars. That still nothing has been done about world hunger or climate change. That the cost of college has skyrocketed while wages have stagnated. That more people are working than ever before. Productivity is at its highest, but 78% of Americans are still living paycheck to paycheck. I think they would mostly just be disappointed about the decline of civilization. How fucking dogshit Western civilization is, especially the steaming pile of shit known as American social culture. They'd immediately go back to 2000. Before censorship, lack of opinions, acceptance of mental illness as normal, etc. Hit stains getting famous for producing shit and fucking teenagers getting $1 of millions of dollars in less than 30 minutes for showing their assholes, while nurses and doctors struggle to pay bills. Streaming movies, music, and YouTube would probably be amazing, especially combined with mobile devices. There's just so much available all the time, it still amazes me when I think about it. Dee embraced bigotry and been elected president, done a poor job, and could potentially win again after a failed insurrection would be something you'd have to explain in stages or they won't believe you. How much that silly thing is called the internet, mainly used for text blogs, have conquered our lives. How much phones have conquered our lives. How crazy real estate prices are. How crazy the prices of everything are. What a freak show the politics of today has become. How the cold, not so cold war resumed. One thing he would be familiar with is the wages, pretty much unchanged since year 2000. I think that the person would be most surprised to discover that the whole world is at the edge. The doomsday clock is 90 sec before midnight. Illegal migration in US and Europe is out of control. Middle East is at boiling point. And there is already 10-year-old war between Russia and the West. With pandemic, inflation at any value to the above and the surprise level. Multi-gigabit wireless data. Multi-gigahertz CPU clock speed. Multi-core CPUs. Multi-gigabytes of DRAM, SSD storage. Cloud computing. The dominance of GPUs. Microsoft is still big. Apple is still big. AOL is dead. Google is king. Sticker price of computers is same, but way more powerful. Powerful AI/ML ChatGPT and its rivals, fiber into the home. For KTV. I feel the people who would have a unique insight to this are folks coming out of prison after serving long 10-year sentences. I once heard one ex-prisoner say he noticed how angry everyone is. Another ex-prisoner said he noticed that no one noticed him. Everyone is so busy looking at their phone that they don't look up. How distracted everyone is now. Everyone is preoccupied. Like people worrying about things that have not even happened and ignore the present. Everyone seems more selfish. They must always get things their way or they bitch. And even when they do get things the way they want, they just get bored of it and lose interest. As someone who has time traveled from 2000 to 2024, the most shocking thing is how much people put on the internet. Like, why do you film yourself so much and then you put it online for literally anyone to see? If you looking, sounding, being like an idiot, we would never. We kept our bullshit on low for a reason. The implosion of the Republican Party would be pretty astounding, I think. But yeah, phones, internet, etc. Although I'd actually say the most surprising thing would be how not futuristic it all is. Like no flying cars, everything is harder. I was expecting technology to make things easier. To get on a plane. I remember being late for an international flight in Holland in 2000 and was able to run through airport and hop on with about 5 minutes before departure. Airport staff were great. A few years later, and you can't board if you're less than 40 minutes before departure. You might enjoy Ryan George's The Future is Dumb series of videos on YouTube, where a time traveler from the 90s reports on events in the 2010s and 2020s. It's pretty funny and makes a lot of good points about how much things have changed. The cost of everything. Fast food now being more expensive than a nice restaurant meal. House rent prices. The cost of rent now was the price of a seriously nice mortgage back then. And mild shock and bemusement that wages haven't increased at all except CA in America. Smartphones and pervasiveness of the internet. In 2000, smartphones and tablets were just a futuristic idea. They'd be amazed by how much information is now available at our fingertips, and how much we use our phones for things beyond just making calls. Democrats would not recognize what their party has become. Republicans would be disgusted by their party kowtowing to Trump. They would ask, "What the fuck happened?" And we'd have to point them to a summer's handiwork a year after their time jump. The overall cultural shift of the last 20 years. The extreme opinions and cult-like mentality politics. The various versus the mentality that seems to have settled over everything. Things are just more volatile than they were 20 years ago. Edit typo. How poorly people are paid in comparison to the cost of housing and basic necessities. I think people would be shocked by the amount of homeless people in Toronto, Canada. People would be shocked about how much that city has declined. LGBT rights and societal acceptance. It changed fast. In 2000, the Defense of Marriage Act had just been signed for years before. LGBT was mostly closeted or played as a joke in society and media. Outside of a few areas, the world's gone to hell. We've never recovered from the recession of 2008. Russia is back to being a menacing power. Climate change hasn't gotten any better, and based on COVID, it probably won't. People are probably that cannabis is completely legal in Canada and in many US states as well. Not just sort of decriminalized, but totally legal and sold in government licensed stores in shopping malls next door to Starbucks. Advancements in AI. Its capabilities now are much more advanced than what someone from 2000 would have imagined. They'll be surprised by things like chatbots, virtual assistants, and even creative AI applications. The global nature of communication and news. The internet has made it easy to connect with people and get news from all over the world. This is a big change from 2000, where information flow was more limited. The absence of racial and homophobic slurs in everyday conversations. Seriously, the 2000s were horrific in this regard. Straight men would throw around the F word everywhere all the fucking time for no reason. TBH, the one to punch if we had a black president, followed by he told a joke about Donald Trump. And now we have Nazis is still a pretty big shock to me. Much less someone from 20 years ago. Airport security. And security in large public venues in general. The progression of technology and how screens almost always surround us now. In-app in-game purchases or microtransactions. As a time traveler from 1969, I can tell you that without a doubt. The thing that shocked me most having time traveled from 2000 to 2024 was how quick those 24 years seemed to fly by. The sharing economy, services like Uber and Airbnb, which allow us to rent out our cars and homes, have become very popular. They'd find this a surprising new way of doing business. ChatGPT and AI assistants. The only thing we had at the time was Jabberwocky, an online chatbot that could talk human language, but its conversations didn't make much sense. The insane cost of renting or buying a very basic no-frills apartment in relation to your income. Add the severe shortage of housing in many economically thriving places. The rise of social media influencers and content creators. They barely existed in 2000. They'll be surprised by how much influence these online personalities have, just how much the internet and technology has evolved. I first went online in 2000 and I was blown away by it, although it's nothing like what can be achieved now. The evolution of video games, tech, and graphics have rapidly progressed in the last 24 years, and it's becoming more mainstream and less of a nerds-only thing. I'm going to say 9/11. I'm not surprised tech will have evolved. that to see a video of something so tragic and massive in the near future would have shocked me. They'd probably be shocked to find out that people now carry tiny computers in their pockets that they use to argue with strangers and watch cat videos all day. That millions of people died as a result of an infectious disease. But a large number of people still think it's fake and refuse to get vaccinated against it. Technological progress, mostly tablets, phones and computers, smartwatches, etc. Also Elon Musk being dumb and to major pandemics in the span of 20 years. Social media. It didn't exist in 2000. They'd be surprised by how much we share our lives online and how it's changed the way we communicate. Dystopian Simpsons episode with President Trump actually happened. What do you mean I have to take my shoes off at the airport? That there's a major land war in Europe right now, and it's being fought largely by means of trench warfare and artillery as if it was WWI. The trans issue would certainly be surprising, as well as Trump and Obama being presidents. COVID, how advanced technology how gotten, etc. Changes in communication styles. Texting, emojis, and online slang have become commonplace. They'd find this informality surprising. I can tell you right now, if a teacher was thrown into the future, they would immediately see that there are calculators in your pocket. That Donald Trump was actually elected president. How fucked up the country became, and all the horrible political problems now ongoing. Almost everything that has a microchip in it. The average light bulb nowadays is smarter than the average desktop computer in 2000.